Hey, what's going on, you guys? Your boy Ben Mahari here, represent Mahari Nation Sports Podcast. Much love to the entire LVBC and the entire basketball community. All right, you guys, just a little quick update there too. I will have my show, Basketball Conversations, next Friday night at the same time at 9 p.m. Central Time. It's where we discuss basketball-related topics, news, debates, and everything else in the world of basketball. I'm basically recovering from my COVID-19 illness, but I'm on track to getting back at 100%. So everything's all good and dandy, you guys. And I want to thank all the love and support for you guys, from you guys that really have been helping out, during the recovery process. And I'm on the verge of getting there, man. We're getting close. So with that out the way, let's get down to business here, shall we? And talking about the rumors going on between Russell Westbrook and James Harden. It's been circulating throughout the media that that there've been the rumors about the Rockets wanting to move both James Harden and Russell Westbrook. Um, let's break this down in half, okay? First, I want to talk about James Harden. Um, to me, it would be very idiotic by the Rockets to trade James Harden at this particular point. I've heard trade rumors that the Rockets were willing to, you know, trade him to possibly to the Philadelphia 76ers in a package involving, and involving possibly with Ben Simmons or something like that. And to me, I just thought that the idea of that just does not make any sense. Okay, now listen, James Harden has came across another great year when he averaged about 34 points per game. Okay, he's an 8-time All Star, former league MVP, and he's still in his prime, still 31 years of age. Okay, and it's already been reported that that James Harden is fully committed to long term to stay with the Houston Rockets. Okay, but the reason why I think that a lot of these trade rumors are being put out there is because they're putting pressure on the new regime to bring in better talent to help them compete in the Western Conference. Because I get the sense that from both of these guys, and particularly from Harden too, that they're getting tired of being a middle of the tier, middle of the pack type of team in the Western Conference. Okay, now all that small ball thing was not going to work out in terms of winning a championship, and that's why Mike D'Antoni left the team for that particular reason because he knew that they weren't going to win a championship playing that style and playing with those kind of players. Okay. Now, I just think right now, I think that the new regime is not going to trade, James Harden and not risk getting anything out of it. Now, if you're going to trade James Harden, you got to get another superstar of quality value out of that trade. Okay. You're just not going to trade him and basically get what draft picks and a few assets out of it. No, it would not make any sense to do that. So I think that the trade for James Harden doesn't make sense to me. Now, as far as Russell Westbrook is concerned, let's talk about that one, shall we? Now, after I was finished talking through it during the Smoke City podcast, I looked up on my iPad and recognized that now that Russell Westbrook is now calling for himself to be traded at this particular point. Now, I want to make this very, very clear, okay? When the initial trade of Russell Westbrook and Chris Paul happened, even I said to myself, and I know Ticket TV pretty much said this too, this trade did not make any sense, all right? This trade did not make the Rockets any better. And gradually, in my opinion, it made the Rockets pretty much a little bit more worse than better, in my view, okay? You had two guys like Harden and Westbrook that both need the basketball to be effective, okay? Even though they're really good friends and they really know how to play together, they're both ball dominant players. It wasn't going to work. All right. And truthfully, at the same time, the thing is that Russell Westbrook, he's 32 years of age. He's still in his prime. All right. And he averaged 27 points per game, 7.9 rebounds, and 7 assists for the Rockets this year. Okay. And he's still one of the best point guards in the game. All right, and he's still in his prime. He's going to turn 32 on Thursday. All right, and right now at this particular point, okay, right now, Mr. Russell Westbrook is basically getting paid, big time money at this particular point. As I'm going to look this up real quick, just real quick. All right. He still has 3 years and $132 million left in his remaining contract. All right. In the same trade that pretty much OKC gave him that contract and then basically sent them off to the Rockets. All right. Now, listen, I'm starting to really think right now that if they're going to trade Russell Westbrook, okay, there are several suitors that they've already been targeting. It's basically the Clippers, the New York Knicks, all right, and what else? Another team though. I think there was another team that was also in the mix too, but I'll find that out. But the point is this, okay? If the Clippers are intent of making a deep run to the playoffs, I think that you could make a possible trade out of that. But according to some rumors that I've been reading too, typically from this source of Kevin O'Connor from the Ringer, basically reported that the Clippers and the Knicks were pretty much having some interest for him, right? And there was a particular trade package involving, you know, possibly trading Paul George to the Rockets for Russell Westbrook. All right. And I know it's going to disappoint a lot of Rockets fans, you know what I mean? But pick your poison at this point. All right. You know, you especially been subdued to media to basically middle of the tier mediocrity, and now you're getting Paul George, who's still one of the best two-way players in the game, but is shown to disappear a lot in the postseason. All right, I don't care what anyone else says. Okay, look, I really think that right now the Rockets, to me, they're trying to, pull the plug on this team and trying to start over. All right. And then I know it's going to be very disappointing for a lot of Rockets fans that have been wanting to see them win a championship, right? But I think that the owner, Mr. Fertilia, is pretty much looking at this whole roster and seeing what this makeup of this team is. And I just think that in his view, this team is not looking like it's going to be a team that's going to contend in the West unless they get a couple of marquee free agents that's going to get them over the hump. All right. Now listen, I think that right now the Rockets have been trying to been are trying to be protective in this whole process here. They're trying to appease to their two stars, but at the same time they're still trying to see, hey, what can we get out of those two guys, right? And that's just pretty much what it comes boils down to at this particular point. All right, this combination of Westbrook and Harden wasn't going to work in the first place. And I pretty much have said that. I know Sick has said that. I know LB has been saying that. I know a lot of people who cover the game of basketball has been pretty much telling you that this trade was not going to work in the long term future. It wasn't going to be an effective, combination. All right. Now, the only thing that you better hope for is that if you could get Russell Westbrook, if you're a Clippers fan, if you get Russell Westbrook to pair up with Kawhi Leonard, that'd be an interesting combination. See how that goes. Bearing if they try to keep Paul George, but I don't think. But listen, if you're gonna try to trade Russell Westbrook, the Rockets are not gonna give. Are just not gonna just give him up for nothing. You're gonna get to give up a superstar of a quality superstar to get Russell Westbrook. And I think that Paul George fits the bill in my view at that particular point. For the Knicks perspective, I think that they got the cap space to do it, and they got some assets to pretty much trade for Russell Westbrook. Because right now the Knicks are looking to try to compete right now, and I think that in the near future, LeBron James could be eyeing his spots in New York, considering the fact that the new management there has got some good relations with LeBron James, and I think that could be the possible destination for him in the future. So I think that the Knicks are looking to try to build a competitive team. In the event when LeBron comes in, that they got something that they could at least structure for LeBron to work on to get this team running and possibly contending for a championship. That's what I think the possible scenario from that I kind of see in the near future. But there's so many endless possibilities out of this whole situation. But one thing in particular is this: the one thing that both these guys have in common is simple as this: they want to win a championship. All right, they understand that the window of opportunity to win a championship is not technically closed shut in their faces, but they know that the door is starting to close down on them. All right, they're not getting any younger, right? But we see players play way past their 30s and early on to their early 40s because of the new science and technology and the ability to try to improve that they're on their physical fitness. But they know that if the team is not going to get you what you want to get to win a championship, then it's possibility you got to look elsewhere to other organizations that are going to try to get you the necessary assets that is going to be needed to win a championship. And both of them guys are putting pressure on the Rockets to either to do something about the team or basically put their names out there on the trading block to see where they can take them. That's what I pretty much take out of this, though. So it's what I kind of believe in. I know I've kind of bounced around, several deep things, but right now Russell Westbrook to me is the most likely person to get traded out of this. I don't see the Rockets trading James Harden at all under circumstances. Listen, I don't like James Harden's playing style, but you'd be crazy to trade a 30-point scorer in the NBA right now for nothing. I don't see the Rockets being dumb enough to trade James Harden. All right, the likely asset that I can see them trading is Russell Westbrook. He's like I said, he's still 32. You know what I'm saying? And he still can give you 27 to 30 points a game, per season, and could get you a triple double for a season two when he's basically got the team around him that allows him to do it. You know what I mean? I just think right now, I think that Russell Westbrook realizes he wants to win a championship, and it's possibly not going to happen in Houston. So we'll see what happens down. We'll see what happens as the off season begins and as the new season approaches next month too. So we'll see how this all heats up. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Peace.